Welcome everyone. Today we are talking about online scams targeting seniors, why they keep working, and two simple rules that can help stop them. My name is Yüksel Aydin. I am a cybersecurity professional and AI safety researcher. My work on senior fraud has been published in The Hill and by the ISA2 Cybersecurity Association. And I am very happy to be here today with Terry Proctor. Terry, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you, Yuxel. My name is Terry Proctor, and I am the founder of Stop Elderly Scams. And I started Stop Elderly Scams in 2023. We are a nonprofit 501(c)(3. And mine was a personal story because my own mother had been involved in, I'd say, 4 different romance scams. And during this process, I was asking what to do. And I heard so many stories of people saying, oh, my relative, my friend was involved in a scam, and no one had any solution.
Hmm.
So that's why I came up with the idea for Stop Elderly Scams.
Thank you so much. So, Terry, today you are going to share a very personal story about what happened to your mom. Then we will look at why the usual advice does not work. And finally, we'll share two simple rules that we believe can make a real difference. Let's start.
Okay. So my story goes back, like I said, it was 4 years of her being scammed, and she lived alone in a house. My father had passed away, and her favorite thing to do was go on social media every day and post, positive affirmations.
Hmm.
And she was also very religious, and she would post things about that as well. So she started talking to people, and it was mostly friends she knew, relatives, that type of thing. And then, she would start to mention that this person contacted me, and I really didn't think anything of it. And I think the first time I became a little concerned was she was talking to a an oil rig person,
Hmm.
and that's, I think, in the romance scams, they work on oil rigs, or they're in the service.
Yeah, that's
So the same story over and over. So anyway, when I became concerned, she was telling me how his daughter had a birthday and she bought a gift card for $300
hmm.
for a person she had never met. And all my life, my mother had given me $25 for my birthday. And I was like, that's concerning. So, she kept going on and how they started asking for more money, and lots of promises made that he was going to come visit her.
Hmm.
And there was always like this drastic reason why he couldn't come. And that's when she started buying gift cards.
Hmm.
And I wasn't really aware of what was going on because they do, you know, manipulate the person, and they
Mhm.
talk them into being secretive about the situation.
Yeah.
And good thing for me, my mother is the least secretive person. She cannot keep a secret. So she started telling me things, and I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. And but that person was there every day.
Hmm.
And even though I contact my mother every day, it was, we talked for 20 minutes,
Hmm.
but they were texting her, all day long. And it became like a friendship that she cherished, she looked forward to, and lots of compliments. So, but at one point, she got angry
Hmm.
and she decided this person is not, fulfilling their promises. But another person would pop up,
Hmm.
and same, different story, same situation.
Hmm.
And this went on like 4 different times. And I tried everything I could to get her out of it. And it was almost impossible because they had more control than me and my family.
Hmm.
And I think, if I could go back in time, if I had known more about it before it started, I could have helped her.
Yeah.
So, but she ended up losing, I would say, like $150,000, an estimate. It could be higher.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
she lost the majority of her savings.
Hmm. Thank you very much, Terry. You told us something that really struck me. You said you call your mom every single day. You were present in her life and it still happened. Can you tell us more about that, please?
I think like what I said earlier was I did call her, but
Mm,
it wasn't, there was a lot of loneliness
hmm.
and, not having a spouse anymore
Yeah,
and getting a different kind of attention from someone that complimented her and said, we have the same interests. And it made her feel young again to have someone interested in her. And that's not something I could have provided to her,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Mm, okay. And what happened when she tried to get contact with one of them?
Well, they found her on Facebook and they
Hmm.
would message her. They didn't
Okay.
call her and they talked her into downloading WhatsApp.
Hmm.
And my mother doesn't have foreign friends, so she has no idea what that app is for. But they started texting on that platform, and there weren't phone calls because I know that they were from a foreign country. And it's almost like it was a professional, this is what they did for a living. They
Yeah.
contacted people all day long, and that was their goal to see how much money they could get
Yeah.
and put a lot of stress on the person. And and she was a very giving person. And when someone says, "Oh, my daughter's in the hospital dying, I need money,"
Mm,
like she was very concerned and she wanted to help that person.
yeah.
So they used that to manipulate her, and it worked. It worked for a very long time.
Yeah. And what happened when you realized that money was involved?
I mean, it got to the point where like the bank she went to,
Hmm.
I contacted them and they were concerned. And also, she had an investment account and she was trying to take a large amount of money out of the investment account. And
Hmm.
because the broker understood that it was a scam, he tried to prevent her. And again, the scammers manipulated her and said, it's your money. You can do whatever you want. And technically, it's true. That's how it works in America.
Yeah.
Like, they can't withhold your money from you. So she ended up getting that money out, and she got kicked out of several banks because they don't want that liability.
Mm,
So, and I understand there's not any regulations to stop people from
mm,
taking their money,
yeah.
even though the financial institution knows they're being scammed.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's difficult.
yeah. Thank you for very much for sharing this, Terry. I think it's important that people hear that. Your mom was not careless, and I am convinced that my own mom would have done the same. Unfortunately, those criminals were professionals, and as you said, they do this for a living. So please, people, here is a point we really want to make today with Terry. Never ever blame a senior who has already suffered an online scam, but blame the fraudsters.
It's true. And I think when I was going through it, I would read articles online about people being scammed, and I would
Yeah.
look at the comments, and the comments were all against the person that was scammed, not the person who
Mm,
had actually scammed,
yeah.
because the scammers are criminals
Yeah.
and the people being scammed are victims.
The
So
scammers. Exactly. So Terry, after going through all of this, did you find that the advice out there for seniors was actually useful?
I found it like very confusing. And even myself, like I contacted all the agencies,
Hmm.
that I found online. You should contact this person, that person. And we were constantly being told there's really nothing we can do. And, and I see articles and they have all these different steps that, oh, you should do this in case of this type of scam. And right now there's so many scams
Mm,
that it's hard to remember all those different, ways to prevent that scam. So I think coming up with something that's just very simple is a great way to prevent
Yeah.
a scam.
Yeah, I agree with you. So this is exactly what we found. There is a lot of advice out there, but it is fragmented, and some of that advice target the wrong threats. For example, strong password are good cybersecurity. We all agree with that, but a strong password doesn't stop a romance scam. The real threat is manipulation, as you said earlier, and to fight manipulation, we need advice that is simple enough to remember. So we will share two rules with you, Terry.
Mhm.
Let me share the screen, please. So rule number one, do not automatically trust what comes through a screen or a phone. This is very important. Because why? Because today AI can clone everything. AI can clone voices. Your grandchild's voice can be faked, unfortunately, in seconds, and email can look identical to your bank real email.
I really believe so. Like, if I had maybe counseled my mother and talked about scams before it all happened instead of waiting, and just be the person she trusted to
Mm,
come to in case she felt like someone was trying to scam her. And because they do put a lot of pressure on you, when they're trying to scam you. Like, it's like a quick decision. And I know a lot of, like, for my mother's generation,
mhm,
they're always very polite. They don't want to offend someone.
mm.
So they listen and, you know, they don't know what to do. So I think, yes, this really could have helped my mother.
And we have also a second rule, rule number two. Before any money moves, verify your way, not theirs. What does that mean? It means call the number on the back of your credit card, visit a local branch in person, use the website you already know, or speak to a trusted member face to face.
I do believe so. And just if I could have just told her, if a stranger calls, you know, just hang up and then call that
Mm,
number, like you said, on the back of the card, verify the information. And because if it sounds suspicious, it probably is suspicious.
yeah.
So you really got to question everything these days, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Before we wrap up, Terry, would you like to share our ask with everyone, the 15 minutes ask?
Contact your family member, your friend, your neighbor, and just sit down and talk about scams and just say, listen, if it doesn't sound right, hang up the phone. If you get a text, just ignore the text. You know, don't be rushed into something.
Mm.
And if they start asking for money, just always contact your bank, you know, go online. There are plenty of ways to
Mm.
find out if it's, but do it on your own. Don't let them push you into something.
Yeah. It's very important. Thank you very much, Terry, because um, please spend just 15 minutes with someone you care about. It can change everything and prevent financial devastation. It can be tonight, tomorrow, or this weekend. Only 15 minutes. And of course, you can share this video. And Terry, last question. If someone watching this would like to reach out to you or share their own story, how can they do that?
Actually, I have a website, stopelderlyscams.com. And if you want to share your story, you can go to info@stopelderlyscams and send us an email. And I always love to hear stories because I think everyone really does have a story at this point in time of how someone tried to scam them. So
Thank you so much, Terry. Thank you for your courage in sharing your story and for everything you do with Stop Elderly Scam.
thank you. And please watch our video and share it with other people so you can prevent a scam as well.
Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Bye.